just a section of the big crowd, and there are the horses behind the gates for the Hardy Brothers Classic. This is the third race on Amy Victoria Derby Day, a day that started with a fair share of drama. Darren Gauci down on the track in the first race and having to be replaced. And Shane Scriven is the new rider for Octagonal. But it is a lovely day. The sun is shining, the birds are singing, and the punters are happy as they move into the stalls. Noble Lotto goes in there. There's Shane in the gold colours, and Dan Malicki, it's not a bad pickup.
No, indeed. I would say the envy of every other jockey on the track today. There'd be no doubt about that. He'd have a great opportunity to win one of the biggest races in his career. This is like a Newmarket or a Melbourne Cup field, Gary. Well, it's a big field of 17 and a heap of chances, as I keep on reiterating in this race, the Hardy Brothers Classic.
Well, that's right, Dan. You could take 3 or 4 horses and not even run a place. But, gee, looking at them, I did like the look of our marquees. Could look very well. Calypso is another one, and Circles of Gold.
Big field, lots of chances. Talander, you'd probably expect to lead. She can get 1,500 all right, is untried at the mile, but her Flemington form is very good.
Yeah, she looked very well, and should give a great sight. She's had 18 starts, 10 wins, 2 seconds and a third, so she's good form. But you got horses like Bionic Best, won very well at Caulfield. It's just hard to put them all in.
Prieur Way looked very well, I thought. New addition to the Bart Cummings camp, a last start midweek winner in Sydney. And it's at very big odds.
That's right.
Now our marquees still to come up to the line with Mick Dittman. Drawn barrier 17, was wide most of the way at Moonee Valley last Saturday before getting the money. Now they're set to run. Ready for the Hardy Brothers Classic over the 1,600 metres for the mares. Light is on. And they're racing. Money Thinks towards the inside, and Vital Consent amongst the best 2 out. Georgia Bell going forward, so too is Talander. She's looking for the lead. The Penny got a nice run through the field in the early part of the race. Our Marquise is wide out on the track, but zipping across into second placing as Talander leads. Our Marquise from the wide alley gets to second. Third, Vital Consent, Circles of Gold gets to fourth. 2 lengths away, the Penny on the outside of Money Thinks, 1.5 to Georgia Bell. Then Auntie Mary on the inside of Cito Flowery, and 1 length away, the grey Calypso midfield. 1.5 lengths to Broen, 1/2 to Prieur Way. 2 lengths away then to Amuse Us, followed by Bionic Best, Futile, Noble Otto, and Monica last of all, about 12 lengths off the leader, which is its stablemate Talander. At the 800 metre point, Talander 3/4 to Our Marquise, keeping the pressure on. 2 lengths to Vital Consent with a box seat third. Circles of Gold fourth. 1.5 to the Penny. It races fifth on the outside of Money Thinks, and then came Georgia Bell outside of Auntie Mary. Broen, and so taking off now was Calypso. They were followed by Prieur Way, Cito Flower, and as they bunch up a little bit, the pace has been quite fair from the start. Noble Otto's back to third last with Futile and Monica as they turn for home. Talander in front, Our Marquise shaken up on the outside, a length away. 2.5 lengths to Auntie Mary, getting through the field and running on well for Simon Marshall. Down the outside, Calypso makes up ground. Georgia Bell struggling, and then Broen. Our Marquise and Talander back behind them. Auntie Mary, Talander and Our Marquise. Talander the inside, and now Auntie Mary joining in quickly. Auntie Mary going up to Our Marquise and Talander, and welcome back Marsh. Auntie Mary draws away to win by a length and a half to Our Marquise. Talander's run third. 2 lengths away in fourth placing was Bionic Best, and then came Broen, Prieur Way. Futile next, and then came Calypso, Vital Consent, Amuse Us, Circles of Gold, Noble Otto, Monica, and then came the Penny, Money Thinks, and Cito Flarian at the tail of the field.
Very delighted Simon Marshall, as we just saw as they went across the line then, Dan. Yeah, he rode it beautifully. He was back behind them. You know, he's a great horseman, and, you know, I just hope he can keep his weight under control, because it's sad to see him missing. There's a great shot of Auntie Mary.
$17.30 for the win and $5 the place. $2.80 for Our Marquise and $4.30 for Talander. And they're the approximate should pace. Well, it must be very difficult, Gary. Simon hasn't ridden for quite some time. He's restricted in the amount of rides he takes anyway. And, of course, you've got to keep race fit, and it must be so very difficult. So it shows you the natural ability that Simon Marshall must have his first ride in a couple of months, and it is a winner aboard a 17-to-1 shot.
That's right, but he's just got that ability. He's got beautiful balance on the horse, good hands. There's a couple of happy people. They're delighted. I wouldn't be crying, I'd be laughing.
No, I think a very sentimental day to win on Derby Day. The envy of every trainer and jockey to win a race, and particularly a $100,000 race, Peter Donegan.
Yes, indeed, Dan, and Alex Aquilina is down here. Obviously, you're pretty happy about that.
Oh, Brett. I thought I'd lost the, you know. It's a comeback firing again. And I did set it for the Epsom and Nissan, so it looks like we're on the way for the Nissan anyway.
You were standing with us when the race was run, and I think she probably heard you over the last 200 metres. It was a copybook ride, though, by Simon, wasn't it?
Great ride, and I just hope that he gets a really good... things really start changing well for him, because he's one of Australia's best riders by far.
You had no hesitation in putting him on today, first day back?
3 weeks ago. I rang him 3 weeks ago, asked him when he was coming back, and he was my first choice, and I'm glad he got on.
Well, you're pretty excited today. What about if she wins the Nissan?
This is the first time she's sort of collected this time in. She's never missed out on collecting money in any of her preparations, and I just didn't want to spoil it for her. That's all.
Alex, go and enjoy the moment. Well done.
Thank you.
The trainer of Auntie Mary, Alex Aquilina from Albury. And what a great win it was. Simon Marshall returning now. And, well, it's a great triumph for that young man as well. First day back, here he is with Johnny Letts.
Yes, Peter and Simon Marshall, an elated Simon Marshall. Simon, congratulations, your first ride back for a long time, and, you know, what a great way to start on Derby Day.
Johnny, this is the time of year, mate. You're going to fire. Look, I've been out a long time. This is one of my greatest thrills, mate, to come back, stick it up a lot of people. But for myself, for a lot of people that thought I wouldn't come back, have a look at this today.
Yes, and it's great to see, Simon. You're one of our top jockeys in the Durbridge rides, and, you know, now Auntie Mary, she's taken her stake earnings over $500,000, and you had a good run all the way, Simon.
Had a perfect run, Johnny. She gave me the best ride of all time. She relaxed lovely. There was a nice bit of speed on the race. This is why she's earned over $500,000, mate. She's just a gun racehorse. She proved it today. Got to the line, beautiful. Mate, I'm wrapped.
Terrific, Simon, and I'm sure the crowd will appreciate your winning, and they'll show it as we go back to scale. So congratulations again, Simon, and good luck over the rest of the country.
All the Channel 10 viewers out there, just keep watching. There's more to come.
Well, there's a confident Simon Marshall for you. Thanks, Simon.
Not only is he a jockey, he's a television presenter as well. Simon Marshall, well done, well ridden, a perfect ride. Auntie Mary, the winner, defeating Our Marquise and Talander, and as the crowd welcomes that young man back to the saddle, we'll take a break and be back to Flemington very shortly.
Flemington on Derby Day, and it's turning into a better and better day as we speak to you. In fact, there was a forecast of a few showers later this afternoon, and we think it probably will be now much later, if at all. So, as I say, if you're in Melbourne thinking of coming down and joining us, it's a good idea. It's an absolutely beautiful day. It's a lovely, relaxed atmosphere. The racing so far has been just terrific, and it certainly will be for the rest of the day. We haven't even had the Derby yet. That's still a race away. The Wakeful is the next. Not sure if we're still awaiting correct weight from Pat Lawler. I don't know whether I saw him give it, but there are the connections of Auntie Mary. And what a fabulous win that was by Simon Marshall. It's fairly well documented. He's had a couple of problems in recent times, and wasn't he happy, as you would be, to ride a winner on Derby Day is really the ultimate. There it is for Mr. Lawler, correct weight. That means hopefully we can pay you some money. Danny Malecki, have you got dividends for us ready yet?
I have.
Okay, away you go.
$17.30 for the win and $5 for the place for Auntie Mary. Our Marquise at $2.80, a giant run from the outside barrier, and Talander $4.30. Quinella $70.70. Quinella $91.50 double paid $70.70, and the trifecta a big one, $1,875.60. So the numbers were 1, 8 and 11. Fourth was number 12. Fifth was number 13. The time was 1:34.8.
Thank you, Dan. It wasn't just winning the race, it was the way Auntie Mary won it too, and Simon referred to her earlier, talking to me as dear old Auntie Mary, and I'm sure he's got a higher opinion of her now. Great run. Storming down the outside to beat Our Marquise, and as Danny said, that was a great run too from wide out. So we're just waiting now for the presentations to be ready with Richard Zachariah down in front of the members, and there's Flemington with the city of Melbourne in the background, looking just great today. Here's Richard Zachariah.
Racing is a sport of the people and for the people, and Auntie Mary's win is further evidence of that. She's an owner-trainer's horse, a battler's horse, we called her until today. She's now won over $400,000, some battler. Our host for the day is BRC committeeman, Mr. Douglas Reid, and our sponsor from Hardy Brothers is the chairman, Mr. John McKinney.
Thank you, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, Hardy Brothers Jewellers are pleased to sponsor this Hardy Brothers Classic, preceded by our Prelude race a month ago. Our involvement as suppliers of the Melbourne Cup gives us a proud association with the VRC. Unfortunately, the bonus of $25,000 worth of jewellery has not been won today. However, I would like to, on behalf of our company, Hardy Brothers, congratulate Alec Aquilina. I'm sorry, Alex. He's a very excited man. It was a great race, and I congratulate him and the jockey and the trainer. Thank you.
Yes, absolutely. We congratulate them all, and they're getting a great round, as should Auntie Mary, and she should get a little special feed this evening for that run. It was just terrific. And as I said to the viewers earlier, Peter and Jenny, this is a very emotional day, and we've just seen it from trainer and jockey, and they thoroughly deserve it.
Yes, they do, and as I mentioned to Alex, Tim, Jen noticed it too. They were standing here with us and basically watching the race on our monitor. And we certainly knew they were there in the last 200 metres.
Well, we did. I actually didn't know who they were. They came over and we were all crouching down watching this race on the screen, and then all of a sudden Dan Maleka yelled out, and here comes Auntie Mary, and of course we caught the excitement of it all. They go, Auntie!
Good luck to them.
Good.
Always great to win a race on Derby Day, and look at this scene in front of this massive people. It is a very colourful scene here at Flemington, and one that the connections of Auntie Mary are going to remember for a long time. And also that young man Simon Marshall, he was given a great reception when he came back, Jen. He's a very popular jockey.
He's a very popular jockey. It's a shame about the weight. That's often a problem with a lot of the jockeys, but Simon's doing well. You can see what a terrific rider he is as well.
Let's move on to the next event, the Qantas Wakeful Stakes, traditional lead-up race to the Oaks. And, well, Jen, I thought if we're talking about nothing like a Dane possibly winning the Derby or Catalan opening, then you've got to like Arctic Scent in this race, because she was running on very strongly when third in the Norman Robinson.
Yes, a very good effort there. There's no doubt about that. And on that run too, Pete, you'd have to say she's got to have a very good chance in this race. My selection is number 10, Nightclub. I gave her a very good chance here. I like the way she ran on last start.
Right, there's a riding change just coming through. Number 15, Not On Friday, is now Michael Clark replacing Rod Griffiths, who I think was a little bit crook in the jockey's room before. So Michael Clark aboard number 15, Not On Friday in the Wakeful Stakes. Let's go to Dan and see what tote punters are doing early in the piece on race 4.
Again, another race of some great chances here. Some outstanding staying fillies. Pontel Lass at $8.60. Shame $7.40. I sold her at $14. Rubidium $8.90. Brackenbank $15.90. Vigil $22. Gee, that's a great price for a horse that's won its last two. Arctic Scent at $4.60. Tripping $30. Kirov Dancer $16. Nightclub $17. Sistine at $78. Country Walk $81. Rahua Pride $159. Salius at $22. Down to Not On Friday now with Mick Clark, $8.20, 30 for Tenicity, 82 Cinder's Dream, and 61 for Belle of Halle, and they all start 18, Pete, in the fourth at Qantas Wakeful.
And there's the comparison, Arctic Scent at 7-2, and they're probably round about her right odds, I would suggest, running through the form line. So that's race number 4, and it's due at 5 minutes after 2. Just repeating, Michael Clark aboard 15, Not On Friday, replacing Rod Griffiths. Well, plenty of activity down in the...
Beautifully adorned Flemington Racecourse, Melbourne, Australia. Adorned are the ladies and the little people, and of course adorned with roses as well. It's just a beautiful day. Once again this year we're giving you a chance for...
Lee is the eldest at 39. Richard is 34. Anthony 31, and Michael is the junior at 27. Together they are the FBI, Friedman Brothers Incorporated. One of racing's most powerful combinations, one with a sense of humour.
It's a team effort. I mean, it's very hard for... We're all equally abusive. Yeah, it's very hard for one person to take over the level of abuse that goes on in our meetings. Very difficult. There's really a team effort there.
I guess I'm best classified as Lee's assistant here at Flemington. But, no, yeah, I don't yearn the spotlight as some others.
Yeah.
Not pointing the finger at anyone, but...
Did you get the, you know, the thirst for power when you were actually in charge of the operation? You know, did you become...
I always had it.
Importantly, have you got rid of it?
Oh, I've had to. They won't let me have it anymore. No, I've been the committee decided that it was no longer an option.
Last season, the Freedman horses collected $7 million in prize money, but all four say they love horses more than they love racing. What about the ungodly hours that you have to keep in this game?
No one ever gets used to them. If anyone tells you they're used to them, they're lying.
Well, you can't afford to have late nights, can you?
8:30, you know, I allow myself one of them a week.
Unless you go right through.
And you'd never have done that. Even in such a huge operation, one that turns horses over very quickly, the boys still have their favourites.
I like Naturalism a lot. I spent a bit of time with him. I thought he was a pretty special horse.
I think it depends on the horse. I mean, a horse like Scalacci, you couldn't help but, you know, we're no different to the public. I mean, they got very close to him, and obviously so did we.
It's often said success for some breeds envy in others, something to which the Freedmans could attest.
Probably more so than any other, I'd think. You know, more so.
It was so high profile.
Yeah. Possibly only outdone by television. which is something you might be able to elaborate.
Oh, no, look, I can't say too much at this stage. Obviously, doesn't worry them too much. At this time of the year, they're more concerned with the big races. One in particular. Is the Melbourne Cup sort of just something special because of the history and everything?
Yeah, I think so, because it dates back so far and there's so much documented history about it, and you read books about it. There's so many interesting stories about horses that won and what they've been doing and that, and yeah, I just find it, being part of that history is tremendous.
If asked the question which one race he'd like to win during the year, I think it'd still have to be the Melbourne Cup. I think that's the race that everyone around the world recognises and that the Australian people have a real affection for.
And the smiles crease their faces when they recall that first Tuesday in November back in '89.
And Terrific's going to win the Cup for Lee Freedman. Terrific kicked away and wins it Quinella for Lee. Terrific first super.
When you've only been training sort of average winners, maybe the odd Group 1 winner, and you win a Melbourne Cup, I mean, it's indescribable, really.
Disbelief.
Yeah.
Melbourne Cups, Golden Slippers, the Cox Plate. The FBI has won them all. And it seems that they'll be in the caper a fair bit longer to improve on those achievements.
Our great-grandmother had a very good saying, I think it's true, racing is a disease cured only by death.
I think the same applies to horses too, and they said there you develop a great affection for them. You do. I mean, I've only got a couple, but they become like members of the family, really. Well now. Welcome back, and a truly marvellous crowd in here today. We think probably in excess of 40,000. We'll get an official figure for you a little later. Everybody having a ball, and we're most happy for the VRC and ourselves. Weather, as you probably would know, if you watched us for the last few years, hasn't been real special. But today, Huey, the great god of the weather, has smiled upon us, and it's just a beautiful day down here at Royal Flemington. The Derby at 2:45, it of course is for 3-year-old colts and geldings. Before that, the Wakeful for the 3-year-old fillies. And to have a look at the girls, here's Bill. They all look pretty fit, Tim, and the riders getting up on board now for the Wakeful Stakes. Jen, traditional lead-up for the Oaks. This is always a good pointer.
Oh, absolutely. We'll be looking for one for the Oaks on Thursday. See some of these good runs here. Terrific field lined up.
It is a very good field, and Pontal Lass is the one that'll lead them out. 57 kilos to be ridden by Damien Oliver and trained by Clary Connors. She's got a touch of class about her, this filly.
Oh, she has. She's definitely got the class, Pete. She's also got Damien Oliver on board. He's going to give her every possible chance here. She's got 57 kilos. That's my only slight concern with her. It's quite a weight jump for what she's been used to carrying, but she's good.
And, of course, the same colours carried by Arborea with success in these types of races a few years ago. Shame number 2, trained by John Hawkes. Wayne Harris has got the late ride with the injury to Darren Gauci. And she went to the post at Caulfield like a real racehorse.
She did. It was a perfect ride then by Darren Gauci. And, well, she's a chance again here, but another horse that has 57 kilos, a bit of a jump, 3-kilo jump for her as well.
57 kilos is also the weight for number 4, Rubidium, to be ridden by Mick Dittman. Most impressive in scoring 3 successive wins, including the Edward Manifold, which is normally also a good Oaks guide, and beating Not on Friday. She finished 3rd to Vigil at Moonee Valley. Look, the winner at the top of the straight, I thought, Jen.
Yes, I thought it was a pretty good run considering. She worked fairly hard right throughout that race, Pete. She's a very, very honest racehorse, Rubidium, and, well, I think she's still here with a very good each-way chance in this race.
Big odds about number 6, Vigil. Very big odds for a horse, as Dan mentioned before, which has won its last 2 at Caulfield and Moonee Valley. But Barrier 16 is not going to help too much, although they do have a long run to the first turn.
Well, they do, but Barrier 16 I've got against her as well, Pete. I thought she was suited by the pace at Moonee Valley when she sat back, and she ran on very well there. I think it's a little bit harder for her here, especially from that barrier.
White pickers number 7, Arctic Scent. Paddy Payne takes the right here. Nicely drawn in gate number 8, trained by Gerald Ryan. The form line impeccable here, and she's got the blinkers on today.
Blinkers on for the first time. Very significant for this horse. A terrific run, as you mentioned, Pete, in the Norman Robinson, behind all the good boys in that race, Nothing Like a Day and etc. So I think she's got a terrific chance too.
Terry Kennedy's favourite horse, number 10, Nightclub. Brian York, the rider. Another one trained by John Hawkes. And looking through the form, not a great deal to get enthusiastic about of late.
Oh, I don't mind her. I think she's got a pretty good chance in this race. Well, once she was clear at Randwick, she ran on very, very strongly. That was, of course, 2 starts ago. And last start, she knuckled at the start, and she raced quite tightly in the straight. I think the 2000's going to suit it, Pete, and I think she's got a good each-way chance.
David Hall trains number 12, Country Walk. Alf Matthews, the rider. Gate number 7, she finished a long way down the track behind Shame in that 1,000 guineas at Caulfield.
Well, she did, but she wasn't all that lucky there. She got a squeeze in the straight, and after that, she just lost interest. But prior to that, her win at Morphettville was quite impressive. I gave her a rough chance at fairly nice odds.
And finally, 15, Not On Friday. Michael Clark is the rider replacing Rodney Griffiths, and a couple of good placings lately.
Well, yes, and also looks very well in here with 52.5 kilos. She's one horse that has gone down in the weights in this race, so she looks suited to stepping up to the 2,000 metres, and she's another horse with a pretty good chance in the race.
Sum up your tips in race 4, Jen.
Well, I'm going for Nightclub, number 10. I think she can win from number 15, Not On Friday. And for third, I put in, like you, Pete, Arctic Scent.
Yes, Arctic Scent for me. I thought she was probably the best each way all day. There she is. There'll be a bit of a delay here because Sistine has cast a plate and is being re-shod in the mounting yard, so Sistine yet to go to the stalls. We'll take the opportunity of taking a break and be back shortly with the running of the Qantas Wakeful Stakes on Amy Victoria Derby Day at Flemington. You're watching it on Network 10 around Australia. Tremendous scene at Flemington as we look down towards the grandstands. These runners are moving into the stalls for race 4, and I hope that they're aware that there's still one in the mounting yard, and that is number 11, Sistine. Larry Cassidy has been waiting patiently. They've been replating this horse. It's cast its off-4 plate, and the farrier's been working away. As you can see, the gates are filling up quite quickly, so...
It's amazing.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever seen anything like this.
I'm sure that somehow there will be a message got to the barriers.
Yeah, well, Greg Miles has just mentioned it on the course broadcast, and you can see that Pat Lawler, the chairman of stewards, is there as well. So she's going to have a rousing gallop on the way to the barrier, Jen. She's going to have to get there in time.
Is she ever?
But a few of these are going to be standing in the gates for quite a while because, as you can see, they haven't finished yet. And Larry Cassidy's going to have to jump into the saddle and get her around there. So...
well, there's the boss, Matt Layla, so I presume that, yes, she's going out, so she's definitely a runner.
All right, well, there's Larry Cassidy getting up on board now and going to the stalls. It's quite unusual, Dan. I haven't seen that before.
Yeah, I reckon it's odds on, though. They're going to wait for it, but by the same token, you feel a little bit for some of the horses that may have to go into the gates a little bit early, so there's a bit of a pause now. The open race, this Wakeful, a Group 2 event, we've got a terrific field of fillies engaged here. Most of these will line up on Thursday's Oaks. Pontel Lass at 7.60, 7.90 for Shame, 9.40 for Rubidium, who's got the blows in a big way in the ring, 5.10 for Arctic Scent. Then $11.80 for Nightclub, who's been kept relatively safe. That's horse number 10. $20 for Salius, who's been most consistent. A lot of these trying the 2,000-metre trip for the first time, which is always difficult to try and get a correct assessment on their chances over a mile and a quarter. And on the final page, Not On Friday. Probably the best back runner in the whole race, I would suggest, is Not On Friday. And I can tell you the $7.10 stands up okay. It's just slightly overs and pretty big odds for the bottom 3. That's Sistine in the picture. Larry Cassidy aboard, and she is running around towards the starting point. There's still about half a dozen or so out of the race. There are the prices. Bookmakers prices on the Tote Arctic Scent 4-1, Not On Friday, Pontolas, Shame and Rubidium. The Derby, Octagonal $3.40. $3.20 for Nothing Like a Dane, who still is the favourite. Opened that way at about midday, and very little change. $6.90 for Donar, $6.50 for Catalan opening, and they are the top 4 in the Derby, which is race number 5. It'll follow the Qantas Wakeful Stakes. Gary Willett's a big field of very promising staying fillies.
Oh, yes, and what a lottery it is. I marked them 1, 2, 6 and 15, Dan.
Now they're set for the Group 2 Wakeful Stakes. 2,000 metres. Light is on. Away they go. Ruhua Pride was slightly slow to begin, and Bella Valet eased out to the tail of the field early. Now this will be interesting, seeing who's going to lead. Vigil from wide out is getting across in front of Not On Friday. Tenicity and Salius were up there in the early part. Not a lot of speed though. Rubidium, Bracken Bank, Country Walk. Arctic Sense racing about 7th, but 3 wide, and then came Shame, just in a little bit of trouble there from Kirov Dancer and tripping around the outside of Nightclub, and then Sistine, Isolde, Pontel Lass, Bella Valet second last, and 2 lengths away Ruhua Pride at the tail of the field. At the 1,400 metre turn, and Tenicity takes up the role of pacemaker, leads by 2 lengths to Salius. 3/4 away Vigil on the inside, 1 to Cinder's Dream, 1.25 to Not On Friday racing 5th. Then came Rubidium, 1 length away Bracken Bank, followed by Arctic Scent, and then Country Walk. Shame in the cerise colours locked away on the inside, tripping around them 3 wide. Nightclub 1 off the rail, and then Kirov Dancer, followed by Sistine, 1 length to Pontel Lass, 2 lengths to Bella Valet, and then came Isolde, and 2 lengths away Ruhua Pride last, and it is 15 lengths off the lead. 1,000 metres to go. Tenicity by 1 length to Salius. Vigil third, Cinder's Dream fourth, 1.5 to Not On Friday on the inside of Rubidium. Then Bracken Bank, followed by Arctic Scent, 1 length away Shame. Around the outside as they make the home turn, now tripping, but it is off the track, 3 deep. 1 length back to Kirov Dancer, then Nightclub and Sistine out deep from Pontel Lass, wanting to get a wriggle on. It's still 10 lengths off the lead. Isolde's back second last with Ruhua Pride. Bella Valet third last as they pack up around the turn, 5.50 to go. And it's Tenicity about a length in front of Salius and Vigil. Not On Friday, working into the race very strongly. Then Cinder's Dream, Rubidium to the outside. Arctic Scent allowed full bore and is running on. And then Country Walk, Salius sprint into the lead. Not On Friday's 2.5 lengths behind, and then Rubidium followed by Bracken Bank. But Salius went for home at the 200. Raced away 3 lengths in front. Not On Friday second. Look at Pontel Lass fly home along the rail. But Salius is a mile in front, and Salius wins the Wakeful by 4 lengths to Not On Friday. A great run, Pontel Lass third, and then came Rubidium, tripping next in, and then came Bracken Bank, Arctic Scent, followed by Tenicity, and then Shame and Vigil, Kirov Dancer, Bella Valet, Country Walk, Nightclub, Ruhua Pride, then Sistine and Cinder's Dream, and Isolde's run a shocker. I can only guess that something is not quite right with that filly. She was last.
I noticed her at the half mile then. She was in trouble then, and Shane Dye just let her come up the straight by herself, but all the honours with this hilarious. It went the line very well.
So they've run 2 minutes 1.5, and I would suggest it'd be one of the quicker Wakeful runs. That's at a pretty genuine speed, 2 minutes 1.5 seconds. And for these fillies, Gaz, most have never been over the distance before, so it's a bit of a test. So really, the form of this race for the Oaks should stand up well, because the stayers were the ones that were to the fore, I would suggest, particularly Pontel Lass. Yeah. What a run.
That was a great run. Got held up and then got right up along the fence and got home very well. There's Darren Beedman again, second winner for the day. Great jockey. Here's a head on here. So there's going to the lead here. Gets right away from him. Not On Friday's the one in the blue with the white hat. Rubidium and Pontel Lass. There she's switching back across from there. She's running right on the fence now, about 1, 2, 3, 4 back on the fence, getting up now with the white cap, the blinkers on. That was a great run for the Oaks, because she'll meet these fillies a lot better on weights than the Oaks.
And the way she got to the post, she's just looking for more ground. But by the same token, we couldn't take anything away from Salius. They've run at a fairly quick tempo anyway, Gary, and she really quickened at the 400, and she put 3 lengths on Not On Friday, who had the perfect run and probably looked the winner before straightening, but the winner was just, well, obviously lengths better than Not On Friday.
Yeah, now here's a good head on. The winner's got the race won, the leader. Back on the fence with the blinkers, the pink blinkers, the white hat and the pink. That's Damien Oliver getting up on Pontel Lass. Great run. Michael Clark on the outside on Not On Friday, and the blue and white hoops, white cap. But that was a great run of Pontel Lass's.
It's a few horses, Brackenbank, Arctic Scent, Rubidium. They seem to have charmed runs in the race, and they didn't really finish the race off. But what a great day for Darren. Johnny Letts has Darren Beedman after 4 races on Derby Day. He's ridden a double after getting up with Saintly, who was backed off the map in race number 1, and Salius at pretty generous odds. Well, we can't get through with